Hey there, welcome to Technibility. I'm Berge. We are your source for no-nonsense tech. Don't forget to check out www.technibility.com. We got some great content on the website right now, so please check that out. Now what we have here is a iPhone 5S running iOS 7.1 Beta 2. So this would be 7.1, you can see right there, 7.1, Beta 2. And I wanted to emphasize on this video that Beta 2 is blazing fast. Apple has finally increased the speed of iOS 7. It really legitimately now runs as fast as iOS 6, if not faster. And we're going to go demonstrate that here today, as well as show you the changes, the new features, and the fixes that they've added with Beta 2. Now, first thing I want to mention right off the bat is the network is better. With Beta 1 on T-Mobile's network, I was getting dropped calls. My 4G was dropping to Edge often. After one day of full testing, it's gotten better, and battery life has increased as well. The phone seems to charge a little bit faster too, but that could be a placebo. But no less, I did want to emphasize on the fact that in terms of just sheer speed, okay, you can see you still have the passcode, you still have access to the notification center, you still have access to your notifications, of course. You can see now, you can see the various different widgets, as I like to call them, that you get in the notification center. Nothing changed on that end. On calendar, it'll give you events. It'll sync Facebook events in there as well. You can see now the control center has that little bouncy effect. Okay, let me do that again here. And you see that little bouncy effect? Okay, and we'll go ahead and unlock it. Let's try again. Let's do that again. And the Touch ID sensor tends to be a little finicky at times, but it does feel a little bit better than Beta 1. Okay, first thing before we do anything, this thing is fast. It's like they just basically changed the number or something or coding to make this thing just a little bit more faster than it's been. You can see no lag on Spotlight, panning through the screens, absolutely fast, immediate. When I enter an app, it's immediate to my touch. This was what made iOS 6 so awesome, and just iOS, previous iterations of iOS in general, was the absolute sheer speed. And this thing does have a need for speed, and I wanted to say that in dedication to Paul Walker. And it's just faster, it's more responsive, it's a little bit more, just overall feel of it feels smoother. It's something that definitely was needed with iOS 7, and you can see just in terms of my operations here, I can open into an app, I can close out of an app, and there's literally not a second where it needs to think. The animation speeds are just faster, and then I can multitask and close out of everything. Just really cool. I like the fact that they've done something, whatever it is, change the coding to speed it up. I think it was a necessity, and at this point it's definitely up there, if not faster than iOS 6, and I'll do a comparison video as soon as I can get my hands on an iPhone 5 with iOS 6. Now going into the settings, there's a few changes here with the settings. Okay, now first thing you're going to see is that the Touch ID and passcode is now in the general settings. Okay, so you have the Touch ID and passcode feature, and you also have this erase data feature now, which says erase all data on this iPhone after 10 failed passcode attempts. All right, and just in general, you can adjust the Touch ID fingerprint. You can add, obviously, various different fingerprints if you'd like, by just going into the setting here directly when you first enter the settings app. So it's not before, I believe it was in general. I could be wrong about that, as in general, but now it's actually in the front of the settings app. So that's really cool because it's important. It's an important feature, at least for the 5S. So you got the Touch ID and passcode. Now if you go to general, you go to Siri, you can see languages here for Siri. Okay, you still have the voice, gender, and all that good stuff as well. And accessibility, now you have something called button shapes. So if I turn that on, you can see now that on the top where the buttons are, has that little shape. So you actually have button shapes now. That's what that refers to. Doesn't affect anything here on the home screen, but in terms of like settings and menus and whatnot, it actually does add those shapes. So let's go ahead and turn that off. And again, you can see how fast this is. All right, they took off the black keyboard for the time being because it was buggy. There were situations to where the keyboard was, most of the time the keyboard was going from white to black and then black to white. It was just buggy, it was crashing. So I'm assuming they're gonna put it back, but for the time being they have removed it. All right, and you can see just going back here and gesturing, using the gesture feature, everything is just super blazing fast. Super blazing fast, and it's the first thing you'll notice when you download this update, if you are downloading this update. Okay, now there's a few things different with the apps as well. You can see now calendar, you have, it's the same minimal calendar. You have the search feature, obviously you have the add feature, add an event. Okay, you can see now it'll give me my date by clicking that button right there on the top left hand side. Okay, it's that little box with two lines under it. Nothing really changed on the weather app. The camera app, nothing has changed either. You do have HDR auto, which was there with beta 1. Okay. So the ability to do burst shot, it's just not as buggy. You know, again, with beta 1 you had a few bugs. Now you don't. You can see you have the edit option, the favorite option. You could trash it. Of course, you could share it as well, which is, everybody knows this about iOS 7. So you got auto enhance, you have red eye, you have the filters, so nothing changed on this end. Okay, and you could see just exiting out, if I was to go into reminders and exit out, there's not a second where it needs to think about what it's doing. It's right out of there. Okay, dialer, if I go to the keypad, it's just faster, it's more responsive. Nothing changed on the calculator, and so really it's an incremental, I mean, it's a small update, and that's what Apple likes to do. They like to release small updates with little bug fixes, but for the most part, it does enhance the actual experience, even creating a folder. Okay, just dragging an icon into another icon to create a folder is faster. You know, going home, exiting out, and then removing it. You know, it doesn't have a moment where it needs to think. It's going to put it back on the grid. Obviously, you can't take this icon and put it here. It's going to go back to the grid. So everything is just faster, more smoother. Okay, you can see now YouTube. Fast forwarding here. All right, auto rotation. Immediate. Okay. This update was definitely to emphasize on the speed. If anything else, it's to emphasize on the speed because it does feel like it's improved. And I think Apple, I don't know, maybe it was probably some minor coding. For all we know, it's probably some very minor coding that they had to change. But just in general, it feels so much more refined. And I think this was something that people expected with the 0.0 or 0.03, 7.0.3, 7.0.4 updates. They expected these speed increases and speed fixes, but for the most part at this point it looks like they've actually addressed it with 7.1 beta 2. So I think a lot of users are going to be excited about this update because for those who feel like iOS 7 isn't fast enough, this has addressed that. It is blazing fast. All right, and I'm not just saying that. This is blazing fast. You know, I'm a user of every platform in terms of mobile phones. I like Android, I like iOS, I like Windows Phone, and I'm a very big stickler for speed. I want my phone to be fast, and this right here is definitely a great representation of that. And you can see right there's a little bug where the no notifications is kind of dragging off the screen. All right, not sure why that's doing that, but if we were to just get out of here, see if maybe locking the screen helps that. See, the Touch ID sensor is still a little bit finicky, but okay, so we got a little bug there where the no notifications is dragging into the next screen. I don't think it's supposed to be like that, but again, because it is a beta, you are going to deal with bugs. But just in terms of the fact that they've updated the speed on this thing and it's ridiculously fast, I like it. I like the update. Minor bugs are not. It's really increased in many important ways, and to me, that's what that's what Apple needs to represent here with iOS 7, is showing the user that whatever complaints they have about this system, they're willing to address them. And this is what they've done. They have addressed it. Right, if we go to keyboard, you can see, yep, obviously it doesn't give you the option to change to black keyboard. You can go to settings and accessibility. You don't have that option. So minor changes, minor additions, definitely some major improvements in terms of just overall fluidity of the operating system. There's really nothing else in terms of the ease of use. It's still iOS 7 as you know it. Definitely excited about beta 3 to see what they add with beta 3. I hope they don't touch the speed. I hope the speed is a permanent thing, because sometimes with these beta builds, just like the keyboard, they'll remove a feature for whatever reason. But in this case, I feel like it's definitely something that was necessary. Okay, you can see even the keyboard is a little bit more responsive. Hey, how are you today? What's going on? Let's go hang out. Okay, there you go. It's a little slow. That's because of the network. Tell me the weather.
Okay, here's the weather between today and Thursday.
Set reminders, 6 p.m. tomorrow, need to go to the doctor.
Here's your reminder for tomorrow. Okay then.
Decrease brightness.
Okay, I made the screen darker.
So you could see, everything's fairly responsive. Of course, depending on your network, some things will be slow like Siri or voice command for voice to text. So that really depends on your network. But if you are one of those people who's complaining about the speed on your iPhone 4S or your iPhone 4 even for that matter, with iOS 7 being a little bit too slow, check out 7.1 Beta 2. This update will resolve those issues for you. So again, if you're one of those people who's dealing with a lack of speed or a little bit of lag here and there with your iPhone running iOS 7, check out 7.1. This is the update for you. This will resolve those issues. Okay, if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, I am Berge. You're watching Technibility. Don't forget to check out www.technibility.com. We have some great repair videos, how-to videos, software comparisons, reviews, and everything else under the sun coming up very soon. So look out for that on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. We are your source for no-nonsense tech. This is iOS 7.1 Beta 2, blazing fast on the iPhone 5S. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good weekend.